Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Stephen Cain. I help people with peripheral neuropathy get out of pain and back to doing the things that they love doing. One of the ways I help you do this is by connecting you with the right people, products, and services that can all help you get better. And today we are very lucky to be joined by Lainie Ishbia. She has a beautiful story about how she came to terms with her own neuropathy and how she's making the absolute best of her condition in her life and helping other people to do the same. So thank you very much for joining us, Lainie.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just start off with your story. If you could fill people in on your neuropathy and the story about it.
Okay, cool. So I'm a 48-year-old mom with a blended family of 5 children and 2 little dogs. And I have a disease, an invisible condition in my case called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. I have type 1A, and it's an inherited neuromuscular disease that primarily affects the peripheral nerves. And I inherited this disease from my mom. My daughter, Zoe, unfortunately inherited it from me, and I have a sister who also has it. And Charcot-Marie-Tooth is very different is different in every person. For me, because my mom had it and was pretty severe, I always knew I had it. I just kind of walked not great. I had, like, they called it the Lainie walk, I guess. So no one knew that there was anything wrong with me, but I had, my gait was a little off, and that's because of having drop foot. And in recess and in those horrible, I don't know if you're my age, you are probably younger, but we used to have these presidential fitness tests. They still have them today, but they don't do them in the same format where it's truly a competition with others. I think now it's just, about doing your best. So I knew then, everyone knew, because I was the last to do everything. I couldn't jump, I couldn't do various things. But it didn't really, affect me majorly until I was a teenager. And as a young adult, I went into leg braces. So I have 2 leg braces that I wear, 2 AFOs that go from my foot to my calves. And I also have neuropathy in my hands. And that is something that, like the feet, I kind of always knew was a problem and going to be a problem. But the hands are the most, affect me the most now because, we do so many things with our hands, and I don't have a pincher grip. And, they cramp up and have pain occasionally and whatnot. So that's my story about having this disease. And I don't know, do you want me to go on and tell you a little bit about you go ahead.
Yeah, that's great. And please do, carry on. If you could tell people about, Trendable and how you started up your own company and how you help other people that have neuropathy.
Okay, great. So for my whole life, even though I had this disease, I didn't talk about it. I didn't share it with others. And I didn't feel like it was a part of my life. It was just, I had this thing. There was nothing I can do about it. There is no cure. There really isn't treatment, so to speak. And so I just lived my life. And my mom, who she passed away last year, unfortunately, but she was a person who at 70 couldn't get out of a chair without help. So someone had to physically hold her hand and push her up. But she went to lunch with her friends every single day. And she was super social, and she couldn't zip up pants or button pants or even pull up pants. And we came up with a bunch of hacks for her to be able to do what she wanted to do, which was to live her life and be social and active. And she cared about looking good. And so we would sew, for example, loops inside her pants, so she didn't have to use her hands. She could put her knuckles in to grab the loops to pull them up. So hacks like that, I grew up with that. And, I'm a social worker. I have a master's degree in social work, and I've done a lot of individual work and speaking engagements with women and families and children about self-esteem and about living your best life and being confident. And so, I don't know, someone was with me one day and I was like, I'm kind of bored of doing individual therapy. It's not what I see myself doing forever. And as my kids are getting ready, one of them is, oh my goodness, going to be 18 on Friday. So as they get, ready to leave the house, I want something that I feel is really going to fulfill me and utilize all my strengths, which, are figuring out things, being resourceful, being adaptive, and helping people, and writing. So I came up with this idea to start a blog, and I called it Trendable, Trend-able, with a dash, so trend and dash able. And it's all about providing those hacks, like giving those hacks to people who have neuropathy and other types of invisible disabilities so that they can live their best lives and look and feel as good as they can.
Yeah, and I'd say that's such a beautiful story, and I think it's so wonderful that you're doing that, because that's, normally when you think about working with neuropathy, those aren't the things that first come to mind, and that before coming across you, I didn't know of anything else that was out there. But it's still definitely a very important thing for people to be able to do those simple things like that most everyone else takes for granted, and it's not.
Absolutely. Truthfully, as I said, I wear leg braces, which are called AFOs, ankle foot orthosis, whatever. And, doctors and orthotists and physical therapists are all well-meaning, but the biggest concern of most people who are young and old, but who, like, the biggest concern I would say for most people is, what am I going to walk in? Like, what kinds of shoes am I going to wear? It literally changes your whole identity to have to wear shoes that you don't feel good in. And so an orthotist doesn't talk to you about those things. They will tell you to wear a sturdy, grandma type looking shoe, and that's it. And they'll give you a catalog, and they're all, sturdy grandma looking shoes. And I just kind of have a workaround. I'm not a doctor. Obviously everyone has a condition, their own conditions. But for me, I figured out there's a lot of things I can wear if I use some imagination and, resources that are out there. So.
Yeah. It's such a great thing, and not out there. And it's important for people to feel good about themselves, and how you look when you look in the mirror, when other people look at you. I mean, those are important things. So that's such a wonderful service. Do you have any any stories, or maybe just your own, about how you felt before versus after you're able to reconfigure ways to make yourself just feel better about the way that you look and present yourself?
Well, absolutely. There is. I mean, it's scientifically proven. I am told, and I don't know who the scientist was, but there is a direct connection between, how you look and how you feel, and how you feel and how you look. Mm-hmm. When a lot of people with neuropathy are in a lot of pain. So they'll say, I can't even move. Like, I can't even get out of bed, and I get that. Like, fortunately for me, I do have pain, but it is not to the point where I can't walk or do the things I want to do. Okay. So, but people out there, though, that are like me, a lot of them are still saying, I can't, and they don't make an effort. But truthfully, when I was not caring about my appearance, when I was, overweight, and I wanted to hide, right? That's what people want to do. And when you have an invisible disability, a lot of times you feel uncomfortable, going about your life for fear of someone questioning what's wrong with you, or, so the more you can do to take control of, we don't have control over the things that are wrong with us a lot of times, but we do have control about how we look, right? Yeah. So just little things like, parting your hair a different way, or, so a lot of people aren't into makeup. Okay, great. You don't have to be into makeup to look and feel your best. It's different for everybody. But, wearing something that brings out the color of your eyes, can make a huge difference in your day because everyone is responding to that,
Hmm.
right? Your world, and it creates positivity and makes you feel better.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure you know about it, but there's this depression is highly correlated. People that are in chronic
Right.
pain, and anything that can help people to feel better, not just the physical pain, but the emotional pain, and just feel better about themselves is a
Mhm.
very important service. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And another thing that you do is not just or at least with yourself, I know, is not just the outward, your clothing, your fashion, but also your inner health. You do a lot of Pilates, you eat healthy, you do lots of exercise. So could you
Right.
share with everyone kind of what you do in terms of the healthy lifestyle and why you do it and what it's done for you?
Sure. Well, like I said, with my disease, Charcot-Marie-Tooth, there is no current cure, and there's really no treatment. I mean, there is no treatment. There are things that can help you, but there's no treatment for Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease that will help, eradicate symptoms and whatnot. When your nerves are dead, as you know, they're just dead. So I can't do anything about those, but I can do things about the muscles that are around my nerves. So for me, I found Pilates to be like, I mean, I found that was life changing for me. I think I've been doing Pilates now for 20 years. And I highly recommend it to anyone out there. And you can email me, by the way, if you're like saying to yourself, but it's so expensive. I have, a couple of suggestions, but in general, the reason it's so good is because it's all about your core. And, when you have a solid core, you can accommodate. If you have trouble, like my feet don't, do stairs that well, but I can use the muscles that are in my thighs and my legs, not my feet, but my legs to help me. So, and it helps me tremendously with balance as well. I don't believe that my disease, at least my feet, my hands have progressed, as I said, which maybe I got to find Pilates for hands or something. I don't know. But my feet, because of Pilates, has not, like, I haven't progressed. I feel like I have the same balance as I did 20 years ago. And it is because I'm as strong, if not stronger than I was. So when we maintain our balance, when we maintain our strength and our muscles and anything we can, and that includes the muscles in your head, right? Like when you keep on, thinking and learning and doing and getting out of your comfort zone, you're growing. And so a lot of the blogs on Trendable aren't just about fashion. And that's why they're applicable to men as well, because it's always about everything. How many times do we see someone who looks good, but they're empty?
Yeah.
So it's about feeling good about yourself and your life and living the best you can with what you have.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. So back 20 years ago, what did the doctors say was going to be the progression in terms of your feet and your balance and your legs?
So, I mean, like I said, my mom passed away, and it was related to this disease, although this disease, at least the type I have, is not supposed to be, fatal. Her pulmonary muscles were weak. Okay. And so she ended up getting the flu and dying as a result of that. So, no one tells you, like I said, the progression of my disease is different for everybody. So there's no one who's ever said you're going to be like this. And for my own daughter, who's, like I said, going to be 18, she does not wear braces now. She's not going to be a marathon runner. And she's definitely not, there's a lot of things she's not great at physically. But she may never need braces, because she's doing Pilates
Hmm.
and she's also, just staying active. So we never know, and you never know for anybody, regardless if you have a disability or not, or neuropathy, what is going to happen.
Yeah.
So you just do the best you can, like I said, with what you have and where you're at.
Yeah, it's the same exact message I give to everyone. Is make the absolute best, do everything that you can to make the
Right.
best life, make improve upon the health of your nerves that aren't doing so well, and just so everyone knows that watching this is that your genetic condition is not definitely not the majority of cases of neuropathy. Most cases are reversible. Most commonly, it's diabetes or pinched
Mm-hmm.
nerves from the low back, things like that. And majority of those you can actually reverse. So I think it's just, yeah, I feel like it takes even that much.
Who are in the unknown stage too. I have a lot of followers who are stroke survivors,
Hmm.
and what's the term for mini stroke? Like who have to wear an AFO and have neuropathy and in one foot, and they don't know if they're going to get it back.
Right.
They're working towards it, but they don't know.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to operate like someone who like where you're at, do with what you can with where you're at. And obviously if it's reversible, great, like do everything you can, but you have to accept also
Right.
who you are and in that time period.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just so glad that for people that have genetic neuropathy, they've got someone like you, someone that is just a great role model, someone that's done just a marvelous job of making the best of their life, and now really channeling your efforts and to do the same for them. So yeah, I really applaud you for what you're doing. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. So for people that want to connect with you, reach out to you, follow you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Well, I would love for you to do that. And I call my tribe of people the perfectly imperfect. So to go to the website itself, it's just www.trend and then a dash, so that little dash, able.com. Or you can follow us, or me, I guess it's me, but it's us, because all the people that are in my community give a lot of advice and tips and hacks through my postings. But trend.able on Instagram. They don't allow a dash. And then you can also find me on Facebook. We have a Facebook page that's trendable as well. Trend dash. So yeah, I'm all over social media, although I'm on overload. So I think those are it. I have a Twitter account, but I'm not going to send you there because I really don't check it very often.
Yeah, you guys a lot of real clever posts. I mean, it's you got a lot of humorous posts too.
Thank you for saying that, because I mean, in another life, I was a graphic designer, like a wannabe, because with neuropathy in your hands, and I can barely hold a pen, let alone to draw or to do a lot of things like that. So being able to use these apps to create cool graphics is like, it makes me I have a wannabe artist, desire. So like it's fulfilling it. So.
Cool. Yeah, well, you leverage it well, and you got it sounds like
Yeah.
a good sense of humor too with the way that you put your content out there. So yeah,
Thank you.
fun.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, definitely highly recommend everyone to check it out. We'll have all the links for those in the description for the video, so it should be a simple click for you to navigate to them. So with that said, any final words for the listeners, Lainie?
Well, thank you for watching, and I hope that while we're filming this, it's almost Christmas, so happy, healthy holiday to those who celebrate, and if you don't celebrate and you're like me and Jewish, have a happy Chinese food experience and a happy New Year to all of you. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Lainie. And to all the viewers out there, continue to educate yourself. Follow Lainie. Check out our other videos on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button in the bottom right so you can be updated with future videos. You can continue to make the absolute best of your condition. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.
Bye.